order of the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call shows everyone is present. I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
What was that? I'm sorry.
That was just for that.
Oh, that's what I mean. Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion again on the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Nash, support by Doc. Roll call vote, starting again. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yep.
I move we amend the consent agenda by adding a closed session under item D, superintendent contract update. And we're allowed by Open Meetings Act 81H.
So I have a motion by Mr. Nash and support by Doc, and we would need.
You have to have a second for mine, right?
Second, I apologize, second on that amendment.
Perfect.
No, you vote on
Hold on a
the
minute.
first.
Okay, so we'll vote on the first piece.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And regarding the amendment, I'll entertain a motion on it. We have a motion, look for a second. Again,
Second.
motion by support by Mr. Nash. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Item number 3, recognition. I have none at this time. Number 4, reports. Ms. Parsons.
So we have quite a busy week at Leonard this week. We are wrapping up our reading month. So far the kids have read 800 books. They're looking to get to 1,000. They're pretty excited. We had author Julie Winslet come, and she read to the kids and showed how she wrote her books. The kids had an opportunity to purchase some of those books. It was just kind of neat. We don't do those types of things as much anymore, and the kids really enjoyed it. We have been doing weekly book giveaways. Our NHS students from the high school, they come every Monday and help deliver books to the classrooms. We've had guest readers in every day in different classrooms. We had FFA students in the Shiawassee Farm Bureau come in, and they read to all of the classrooms about farming, and then they did a project with each of the classrooms. The kids were pretty excited about that. And Friday, we are doing our reading month assembly finale, and then we also do our Run to the Roar kickoff fundraiser in the same assembly. And then Thursday, we have our PBIS assembly, so we have quite a bit going on with our reading month this week. We're also wrapping up our after-school reading and math program that ends this week, and then after spring break, we're opening up our science club. So, an update on our kindness project school-wide. Our second graders have completed the flower boxes. They got to build them and kind of put them all together. And so now the first grade will take those boxes and they'll paint them. And then the kindergarten a couple weeks ago went to Simpson's greenhouse and did the planting. So they got to see how to plant, and then they'll go back and get the flowers for the boxes. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Ormsby.
I also have a quick update from Alicia and EE Night. At EE Night, we are wrapping up March's reading month. Our school-wide goal is 50,000 minutes. The top reader in each class will win a bike ride from Mason's and Elsie. On Friday, Mrs. Alexander is organizing a career day for our students. Students will have the opportunity to attend 4 sessions run by local community members. They are excited to offer 15 different career Reading Month Spirit Week this week. It culminates with a read-in Friday morning, as well as a assembly that's been postponed twice because they had just had snow days on half days. So on that assembly, we'll have a teachers versus students volleyball game. Spring sports are getting underway. Red Cedar Volleyball is wrapping up. We had several staff members attend McCall, which is a Michigan Association of Computer Users in Learning this past weekend. Heard great things. Teachers are excited about it, coming back with information. Third quarter grading period ends this Friday. Band festivals attended 2 weeks ago almost, on the 10th and 11th. And then our staff recognition this month goes to Mr. Grandstaff, 8th grade social studies and song lyrics teacher, as well as Mr. Snyder, our health teacher. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Tokrak.
So at the high school, we have a lot going on with our seniors the next 6 weeks. So our secretary does a great job of kind of putting it all on one sheet. She's already sent all this out to all of our seniors, so they all have that. I shared that with you guys. So if you have any questions on that, but just a lot of senior moments coming up, recognition nights, awards, got prom coming. And then last day for seniors is May 12th, kind of a tricky year this year, the way Memorial Day fell and the way seniors last day are for RISA, so we kind of mirrored what RISA was doing, and it's in kind of about 5 days sooner than most seniors are used to doing, so these guys are excited about that. When we come back from spring break, we're taking our 10th and 11th grade students to DC. We got about 90 of those students going. We're going to go Wednesday, April 5th through the 7th. We're leaving kind of, it's not really, it doesn't feel like it's Wednesday because we're leaving at like 1 a.m. So, but it is Wednesday, and we're meeting all down in Detroit. Miss Blank has done a great job of getting all that around. Had a parent meeting last night out here, very well attended, got everything organized, got who was carpooling with who and how we're all getting down there. She called down, got a hotel, so anybody that didn't want to drive through the night, and got a great rate of like $55. And then got a really good rate on a parking ramp for everybody. So she just did a real good job of organizing all that stuff. So hats off to Ms. Blank for that. And then tomorrow we're also going to have about 12 of our athletes are going to head to EE night, and they're going to read the 10 different classrooms. And so we're excited to help out with that. Mr. Winter took some kids down last week as well to read down at night. And then the final thing kind of going on, I think Mr. Barton shared it with you. I apologize if he didn't, because I don't want to go into depth of explaining it, because you just have to see the video. But the memory project that our program did, I'm not sure if he shared that 6-minute video with you guys.
It was the last board meeting, yeah.
So anyway, Ms. Kellogg kind of carrying on the tradition of Mrs. Weber, who was here some time ago, and now at Whaley, started this memory project where we send things to a foreign country, and then those people look at those things, and the emotion that our kids felt, and not one dry eye in the student lounge with 60 kids who sent stuff there, and seeing the response that they got from their stuff being sent over, and the appreciation they got was pretty heartwarming. So if you haven't seen that video, that's worth a quick look. Any questions?
Thank you. Mr. Davenport.
I had the opportunity again to chaperone our digital media arts class with Mr. Puffpath, and this time we went on a trip at the end of February to MSU. The students are doing a grant-funded documentary for Nova Science Studio in partnership with WKAR. We're one of the 3 school districts that WKAR chose. Mr. Puffpath applied in the summer with the help of the students, and they're capturing interviews with local experts and people about their experiences with environmental science. So they did 3 interviews while we were there with the physics doctorate in charge of MSU's migration to cheaper and cleaner energy sources, a professor in waste management who was like, please don't touch anything in this lab, nothing in this lab is clean. We're all like, okay. And but it was really fascinating what he explained about the water water in the state, which will be part of that interview. And then the future of water care and energy capture, and then also a professor of organic farming. They also interviewed some local farmers and some local water plants, and they're putting it all together. The rough cuts due early next week, so they're feeling under the gun. But it's a really cool project, very real use of their digital skills. So we'll keep you updated with their success as they complete that. I just would say they did a great job of representing Ovid-Elsie, and they got to tour the WKR facilities and MSU's facilities to see different career and degree opportunities related to the skills they're learning. So, and we were also very impressed by the all-you-can-eat experience at the Brody cafeteria. So, but it was a really great trip, and I was really glad to get a chance to be part of that. In the rest of the tech world, we received funding from insurance to move forward on the bus garage repair. So that project has entered the long line of waiting for parts, and like all of our other projects right now, but at least we can move forward on that. And as we're budgeting for next year, we're figuring out the health of our fiber to the bus garage as well. We may need to do some repairs there, but it's old enough that we need to find a vendor with the right equipment to assess it. And just for Doc, it's an optical time domain reflectometer, which I knew you wanted to know. But that's what we're moving forward on that. It's all part of budgeting for next year, which is what we've been working on. So, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 5, communication from the public. Ms. Nethaway.
I'm just here to talk, so that way you guys at least get to hear from somebody. I just want to bring up again, I'm hoping that, we say this every month, maybe one of these months it will be something we talk about, but actually adding another communication from the public at the end of this agenda. Other thing was, I did talk last time on the enforcement of the athletic code. Still would like you guys to look into that. Kids these days, if they're caught vaping twice or even 3 times in the year, which I know is not what we want them to do, but unfortunately we can't keep it out of the schools either. And it is a big problem. I think they're losing almost their whole entire school year, maybe at the freshman year of playing sports. Second one, they've already lost a whole year. So, just trying to kind of look into maybe having something more programs that they can get into. I'm sure there's lots of resources out there that we can look into to maybe make it where they're not losing the sport, but having some consequences for it some other way. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. I have no communication from Ovid-Elsie personnel. Item number 7, correspondence. I do have a letter that I've been asked to read, so just give me a moment, I'll bring that up. This is from Ms. Joelle Mulder. Hello, Eric. Can you please have this letter read as an agenda item to the school board and published during the Ovid-Elsie board meeting on Monday? I would like each board member to have a copy of my letter as well. And can I have this open for comments from concerned citizens as well? Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. My name is Joelle Mulder. I am the host mother for Milena Diaz Blanco, who was an exchange student that played for the girls varsity basketball team. We had a very upsetting situation happen to my daughter that I feel needs to be addressed. When the girls basketball team played their second game in districts at Bath against Belamo, Westphalia, unfortunately it was Milena's last game with her team. This is because at this time the coaches took her jersey. They did not have her dress in her uniform, and she was not given a medal after the game like the rest of the team had received. She sat on the bench with her team dressed in her jeans. Sadly, Milena was not recognized for any of her efforts during the basketball season. Milena made the choice the next day to quit the team because of the embarrassment and humiliation of the whole situation. Both Milena and I are aware that she is not one of the best players on the team, but she worked just as hard as the rest of the team. She never missed a game even knowing she wasn't going to play. She wanted to be there to support her team. She only missed 2 practices. There were times she was absolutely exhausted from practice that was requiring her dedication 5 days a week. She even gave up fun time with us and her friends to go to mandatory practices that were on the weekends before the playoffs. On Thursday, Mr. Tokar explained to Milena that she wasn't going to play in the next game and that they were going to bring a JV team member up from the other team to play instead. Since Milena is from another country, she doesn't understand our athletic system, so of course she agreed. Neither coach reached out to me, as well as asking if we were comfortable with this decision. I feel like they took advantage of her being an exchange student and not knowing the importance of this. Later, it was explained to us that this was allowed by MHSAA at these types of games because of the high-state competitive level, and that the coaches can change the roster for the playoffs. On Saturday, Milena was very astonished when the coach came to her and asked her for her jersey. She was not aware of what was about to happen. Not knowing what to do and was confused of whether this was normal practices, she gave the coach her jersey, in which resulted in her not being allowed to dress for the game. So very awkwardly, she sat with her team on the bench in her jeans. Then when the medals were awarded after the game, and she did not receive a medal like the rest of her team, including the new JV players, she was devastated and confused to the point she thought she did something wrong. It was so heart-wrenching to see her crying and her heart broken, especially when she worked so hard for several months. It made me cry. One of her dreams that she shared with us when she arrived at our house was to play basketball in America. She was super excited about the opportunity, but this dream was quickly shattered and taken from her. It was a very difficult task to have to explain this to her family in Spain when I clearly didn't understand these reprehensible and inexcusable actions myself. Chris Winters was willing to order Milena a medal, but the value of the medal was not the same because she did not receive the recognition with it like the rest of her team. That moment was taken from her. I understand that this is an exciting time for the whole community, and it's been over 40 years since they have gone to districts, but why are people being allowed to make these selfish and shameless acts to claim their own pride of getting the team to victory? Is this what high school sports is about? Isn't it supposed to be about the kids, not the adults? Where does our core values lies when Ovid-Elsie mission states students first? It's concerning and alarming to have a principal that is not looking out for the best interests of his students. Even though this was allowed under the MHSAA rules, was this really the right thing to do to a student? I feel it's a terrible example of good sportsmanship that we're trying to teach our kids to do. I can't believe not a single person was willing to step up and say this is not right. I feel like the whole program failed her. This was so poorly managed because since there were 5 to 6 girls that never got a second of playing time, they could have dressed Milena and put her on the team. There was absolutely no good explanation from them to even do this to her. Nothing was accomplished. All they did was take away a young girl's dream. Unfortunately, the deed is done and Milena won't be recognized for her efforts like she truly deserves. I feel the coaches robbed her of all her efforts and shattered her season. They need to be held accountable for their actions, and I feel an apology needs to be addressed to Milena. But most importantly, we hope this statement will stop this from happening to any other athlete in the future. Milena's heart will always be scarred from this. She was very eager to try new things when she came to America, but she has absolutely no desire in participating in any sports in here before returning to Spain. I feel terrible how the season ended for her. Again, Joelle Mulder. Item number 8, old business. I have none at this time. Item number 9, new business. Go ahead.
Yeah, I asked Mr. Jones to appoint an ad hoc finance committee. This committee would meet maybe 3 or 4 times a year as we kind of get ready for budgeting and do that stuff. So I reached out to 3 members of the board to make sure that they were interested in doing it. And this time I'm asking that we take a I recommend that we appoint these people.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to appoint Ms. Mary Thompson, Mr. David Huff, and Mr. Josh Miller as members of the Finance Committee.
No!
Motion by myself, support by Ms. Woolley. Let's do a roll call vote on this.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Item B, employee contract.
Yes, at Leonard Elementary, we had the need to employ another paraprofessional. Brittany Kassler was working for the school prior in the beginning of the year. She wanted to try out with the position to see if it was something that would fit with her comfort level. Since that time, she's done a wonderful job, and Ms. Parsons is asking that we extend her contract as a paraprofessional effective March 20th, 2023.
I move the Board of Education extend a contract with Brittany Castler, paraprofessional, Leonard Elementary, effective March 20th, 2023. Support.
Motion by Mr. Miller, support by Mr. Fisher, or excuse me, Schiffer, excuse me. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item C, retirement.
Yeah, Connie Kioski has worked for Ovid-Elsie for over 30 years. She's worked in a number of different buildings in a number of different capacities. Most recently, she's been in our alternative high school, and after 30 years, she has informed me that she's ready to do what's next in her life. So having worked with Connie at Leonard and at the alternative high school, it really does sadden me to get this letter from her. But I hope you understand what you have meant to a lot of students in our district and all those years of service. So I'm going to ask that we accept her resignation or retirement with regret.
I make a motion that the Board of Education accept with regret the retirement of Connie Kioski as paraprofessional at Alternative High School effective June 30th, 2023.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Woolley, support by Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Discussion. I want to say thank you for your time here. 30 years is a really long time, and I appreciate everything that you've done for us. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes.
Good luck, Connie.
Item number D, superintendent contract update. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session under item 81H to review an attorney-client privilege document. Motion by myself, support by Mr. Nash. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Miller, support by Mr. Schiffer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Come back into open session. Item 9D, superintendent contract update.
I move we extend the contract to Randy Martin for superintendent of Ovid-Elsie's public schools for the next 3 years.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Miller, support by Ms. Woolley for the contract that was updated, or uploaded as presented. Discussion. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No, not favorable for the wage.
Yes. Motion passes. Item number E, board norms,
Do you want me to read this?
however you want to present that.
So, one of the trainings that I just took again, they were talking about this no surprises rule. So I tried to type it up the best I could because there wasn't any documentation anywhere from MESB, but they talk about it beginning in the first class, CBA 101, and they've talked about it in every class since.
Brooke, is this the attachment that we have?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, because I didn't want it to be a surprise. So I was typing up what they discussed. So I know we still have to work on our board norms and our responsibilities, but this is one that they teach you in the beginning, meaning that we can still discuss whatever we want at the table. That doesn't limit anything. But it means if you have something that you want to bring up and you want us to, it needs to be on the agenda items or something that we're going to discuss or take action for, the no surprises rule means that as a governance team, we're respectful and we give that information ahead of time to either the president and or the superintendent, and that way they can collect anything they need, whether it be board policies, if there's a legal ramification, any other materials, or for any of us to know that, hey, this is something someone wants to change. If we want to look into it or do some research before, at least we have that chance before we get to the table. So that no one's technically surprising anybody, but it also helps us foster open communication and trust, but still does not limit what we can talk about. Like an example, you know how at the last meeting, the first meeting that you were at, we changed the location. Absolutely have no problem with it, but I just would have loved to know ahead of time if there was some reason, or hey, we're looking at changing that. Or I thought the last one where we changed the spot on consent agenda, and we were doing that, that's why at the beginning I said, oh, I thought we changed that all the time. But if we're gonna make a change to something, I just like knowing ahead of time so I can look at it, or if there's a board policy, I like reading it ahead of time, rather than right here where I might not even understand what it is. So that's what I mean by like just sharing whatever it is that we want discussed ahead of time.
Very good. I agree with you 100%, but I also have to say that it's been around 20 years and I can't say that I've really had very many surprises at all. I always feel like the agenda is complete and presented, and the board brief has other topics that may be sidebars, and I just think that they've done a great job of letting us know what's going on. So I have no problem at all with what you're saying. I just think it's always been done.
Well, there was a lot of discussion. Sorry, I'm not going over here.
Oh, that's fine.
There was a lot of discussion. There's a class that you can take that we can have someone come and work with us on developing the board norms and whether it's how we relate to each other, how we relate to our community, and then every year the board, whoever they are, who are elected, they sign it, so we're all committing to those things. And this was one of those that, I mean, there's a lot of I have examples of them from different districts that shared them during that training. That hey, we talk about this and we make sure that this is the basis of how we implement decision making or discussions. And
So I think it's great to guarantee that it goes forward. I just like to say we're not trying to catch up that this hasn't happened. Okay.
If I can add, I guess just for a little explanation though, and I understand your concerns and I appreciate it, but just for an example, the item of business to move the meetings here to the auditorium, that was just a simple amendment to a motion. I don't understand how that would be necessarily.
That was the only example I could think of.
Okay,
of,
and
like,
I'm not
yeah.
ridiculing either, I don't want that to be, and truthfully, the board policy that I brought up last meeting, I mean, any board member could do that at any particular time if they see a concern. I mean, it wasn't like I was trying to do anything to trick somebody, surprise somebody.
No, it'd be like
But-
if I showed up tonight and said, hey guys, I want you to like think about doing
Yeah.
this, but I hadn't given it to you ahead of time. So
Okay.
it's not, it's specific to
And
you.
one more little caveat, during our
Orientation.
pardon?
Orientation.
Orientation, there you go. And during our orientation, Randy had brought that to us, that's the direction we go, either bring information to the chair or Randy, and that gets discussed. I mean,
Brooke, do you know if we have, because I've never received board norms.
We don't. And so like on some of the other districts that had developed them together, like I've never been part of a discussion in my time here where we developed board norms. And there, like I said, there's a training we can have, we have someone come in and do it. But that like other districts have it on their actual like board website that here's our norms that we developed. But it kind of seemed like that made sense after we would have that trainer come in and do our responsibilities. And then,
Should we make a committee and discuss this and do a powwow and make a list of board norms?
and I'm just saying, the other people who talked about that they had done norms did it as a team, like a whole governance team, not a committee, so it's 3 of us that thought something is something you do all together.
Yeah, work session, board work session, I think it's a good idea.
I would like to do a work session and develop it all together.
But they do say you should, like, we should do the one that we would have to have our responsibilities and someone's coming to help us. But first we do that, then that's like the next step, if we had someone come.
So board norms would be after,
Yes.
so we wanna vote on this before we do our other training first?
We can do whatever, I just thought I would bring it,
I don't
because
think
it's,
we need a motion.
So, I mean, after listening to everybody, maybe it makes sense that we set up a training for one of our, obviously we've talked about that anyways, and it might make sense that we go that route before we do this, which is great that you came up with this, but that leads us to something even bigger where we create more norms, have a work session with the entire board. Maybe that makes sense at this point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but even if we don't, we have to wait and let's say it's gonna be a couple months. This is not a bad idea, just to sit here and have it so we know. So if I have something I'm gonna bring, I make sure everyone has it, so you get a chance to think about it. Way all of us get a chance to think about it, as opposed to just one person getting a chance to think about it, and that. So I'm in favor of this. I agree with you, and I think that we should have those other 2 groups that you were talking about, so.
Well, I mean, I'm open to a motion, or we can wait.
I guess I have one more question, but what maybe can we, I'm not trying to go in a different direction, but maybe how can we maybe get information a little bit quicker? You know, we get information at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and then you have the weekend to meal it over or deal with it, and then your meeting's Monday night. I mean, that doesn't give you a whole lot of time if you're doing a little studying and researching, or maybe communicating or whatever, trying to find information out. I don't know about you, but just respect, I don't really like talking to somebody on Sunday or calling someone. I just try to be respectful. I don't know everybody else's schedule and time. I mean, is there a way that maybe we could get the information a little quicker? Maybe if we did have a little question, discrepancy, whatever the case may be, we could at least bring it together where we kind of know what's going on.
My wheels are turning, and since we are paying in the rearage now on our, financial conditions, she would be able to have that done at the end of each month now, correct?
I think so, yes.
So we could,
So we could get the information quick, like a week before our board meetings, and adjust agendas if needed.
Yeah, well, when do you think you need the information by? The Monday before, the Wednesday before? We're doing it the Friday before now?
I guess I don't, honestly, I don't have a specific time, but I guess, yeah, I think 3-4 days earlier possibly would help if it's possible. That week sometime, is that okay?
I would say the Friday before, payrolls are always that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so if we could, we could check with Mary to make sure that Friday before, so that would be the whole week, but we just need
You're saying another full Friday?
The
the Friday before, the next Friday, or sorry,
A whole week
a
ahead of
whole
the
weekend.
Yeah, that's,
So we're
Yeah,
getting
because
it,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
That would be
always
great.
feels like board meetings are always on payroll week, so that takes up almost
so
4 days.
instead of the Friday, which is 3 days,
Yeah.
whatever, before, we're looking at 10 days before.
nice.
I think that would be great if we can make that happen, so we can discuss that offline then.
Can I get back to you on that to make sure it's
Absolutely.
feasible? Sure.
Okay. So either, I mean, I'll entertain a motion now, or we can hold off, however, whatever anyone wants to do.
I just have some questions. How, does this even work? Is it on?
Just, yeah.
Hello?
Try to get this switch on.
I don't think it works. Okay, I'll try to talk loud. What happens if we go to the president or the superintendent and they don't want to put or necessarily doesn't feel like we should put something on the agenda? But how would you bring that up to other board members if you would like discussion or just correspondence?
The agenda is put together by the board president
Yeah,
and myself.
what I'm saying is, if I go to you guys and you're like, no, we're not doing that.
If the both of us say that we don't wanna put it on there?
No, I'm just saying, I never said it did. I never asked for anything to be put on the agenda.
What they
But I
want
just-
to do is go hearing the board members.
I was gonna say.
And then
Okay.
just answer right there,
Yeah.
you can ask whatever you want right there, so.
And obviously, if we accept this, you know, we move forward with this no surprise rule, it wouldn't be a surprise, because we've already talked about it. I mean, obviously, that situation's never, you know, came up where anybody said, hey, we wanna put this on the agenda, and we haven't. But if we decided we weren't gonna, and we had a good discussion on that, you still would be able to go under, like they said, we already know about it, so.
Just one other question before we make a motion. Will the descriptive agenda be more transparent? Last week, we had on the, agenda superintendent update when it should have, and I don't know if it should have been, but I would have thought selection and enter into negotiations with the superintendent.
You're talking about the last meeting?
Yes, I'm like asking, is a surprise clause also goes on agenda items, being not descriptive enough?
I mean, sure, but I mean, that wasn't, for example, in that particular situation, I didn't know if we were going to be going that route. I mean, that was a decision that was made, so to put that on the agenda where, you know, someone made a motion to do that, I can't, you know, foresee the future with what's gonna happen there. So I gave a vague, item because I didn't know what was going to happen there. So I mean, I guess I could be more transparent, but that was literally the thought process there.
And I just think of community members see that, oh, we're getting an update, it's not the selection of the superintendent, like, yeah, very good, yeah.
So yes.
Understood. Okay. So whether we'll take a motion now, or if not, then we can move forward. If anyone wants to make a motion on this.
I move the Board of Education implements the no surprise rule for governors.
Support?
Motion by Mr. Miller, support by Mr. Huff, Doc Huff. We'll roll call vote this, starting at the end.
Yes.
Well, actually, discussion.
Okay.
Let's start with any more discussion. Go ahead.
My final thoughts is that we want to do board norms when we don't have them yet, and this is the first rule when we don't even have board norms.
Some boards don't have, like, in this discussion, in this training, because it was about parliamentary procedure, so that's kind of where this led to. Some didn't. This is just one of those things that if you take that CPA 101, like, in my brain, I've always asked my questions ahead of, like, the meeting, because that's how they teach it in there, but it's not necessarily anything that we had said all together, like, this is how we're gonna respect when we come here, that we're actually doing our business at the table, not last minute.
I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse on this one.
So we have a motion on the table. We'll roll call vote this.
Yes.
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 No.
No,
Yes, motion passes. Number 10, other matters which may properly come before the board. I have nothing at this time. Number 11, hearing for board members.
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. I helped coach the JV girls basketball team, first time ever, and it was great. But I think we got to be proud. I know we had a letter, but I think we have to be very proud of our girls basketball team and how far they went.
And boys.
And boys, right. But the girls did something that no other basketball team has done in Ovid-Elsie history, and that's just great. And I was around to watch and see them doing all the, playing in the practices and all the rest of the stuff. And, they just did a very good job. So I just want to say that.
Anything else?
They represented our school really, really well, and they had class and effort, so it was impressive.
Well, and I think another thing that's important too, I believe academic all-state, honorable mention, or they were first team, which is impressive as well. I think their GPA is like a 3.9. So, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Doc, support by Mr. Nash. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?